Welcome everyone to our 7th segment of our Fireside Chats. I'm Tim Hollick, and with me always is my good friend Joe Zinni.
Hi Tim.
How you doing today?
Happy Thursday.
It's a little cool today.
It is, it's okay though.
Yeah, it's good for the winter.
Well, it's winter time.
It could be a lot colder, but it's going to be Monday. They're saying 12 is going to be the highest.
Well, and you add a little wind in there, and you have New England.
It's New England.
And we can live with that. I mean,
Exactly.
it is that time of the year. If it was like this in October or November, okay, I can see us.
Exactly. It's not bad.
It's seasonal.
We're winding the other way now.
Yeah.
That's why I look at it.
March 1st. I always say, give me the March 1st.
I know.
You
Even
know,
if it snows and it goes quick.
it goes quick.
But you got to keep your mind forward either way, whether the weather's good, whether it's bad. I think your mind travels better and feels better when it's nicer out, there's no doubt. But you still can't stop your mind. It always has to be consistent, keep moving. But what are we talking about today?
I love this. It's potential and opportunity. And we talked about this quite a bit. You touched on it last week. We talked about opportunity and moving and keeping your mind moving. To me, everybody has some form of potential, but potential is stagnant.
It is.
Opportunity is moving, and you need to see the opportunity that comes to you, and then take it from there. And one of the things I wanted to talk about with you is the value in potential and the value in opportunity.
Well, I like the way you label that as being stagnant and moving. Opportunity is always constant.
Yeah.
It's always out there. The difference is if you notice it or not. And when you start to get your mind going forward and you start to live up to your potential, your mind notices opportunity more. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. I see it a lot. I see it a lot of people stay in the same type of stagnancy I see out there. They just don't understand how you put your mind together. Working with my daughter right now on her future, with her, what she's doing.
I'm doing the same, right?
And trying to figure out, how do you get out there to be able to live on your own? It all comes down to you got to realize what's going on in your life.
Sure.
And I always start with, okay, what is your income and what are your expenses? And that's where you start with anything.
Very simple.
Because everybody has the potential to go forward like that and do whatever they want. They just got to put a plan to it. But the key to everything in understanding, getting your potential and moving forward is really just getting your mind going forward by understanding what is now.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it triggers these bells in your head that go off. And it's amazing how you start to recognize things. You start to think clearer.
It does.
Isn't it?
It does, because, like anything else, it's like a snowball.
Right.
Once you get it moving, it'll all pack together for you. But you have to recognize that opportunity.
It's true.
And keep it going, because again, potential is stagnant. Potential, you have the potential. You're sitting here with that potential, like you just said, thinking about it. But taking that thought and making it an action is your opportunity.
And I think a lot of people, when it comes to potential, anxiety, low self-confidence,
Yes.
Chatter of other people in their heads, that stagnates people. I see it all the time, especially other chat. I mean, you've been part of it, I've been part of it,
Oh,
where
sure.
you're thinking what you want, and then somebody comes along, could be a friend, could be family, well, you shouldn't do that, you can't do that. When that goes into your mind, stagnancy happens, and you just don't move forward at that point. So it's not just the fact that they don't want to do it. Some people are already starting to do it, but then somebody comes along and just chops that thought out of their head.
Yeah, but to me though, we talked about this many times about where we've been in life, and one of the things we talked about, don't take no for an answer.
Right.
We talked about that for the title of your book.
Yeah, that's a great.
Because someone's going to come along, anybody's going to come along and pop your bubble. It's blowing the bubble back up is your opportunity. The stagnancy is letting that bubble pop,
Right.
and then standing there going, okay, well, now what do I do? Potentially, I could do this. Go do it.
Right.
Blow the bubble back up again. Don't let them stop you.
That's right. And a lot of people.
How many times have you told you can't do that, Tim?
Oh my God.
From the time you decided you wanted to do this,
A million times. And it still happens.
it still happens.
I'm doing other things, and people
Right.
say, "What are you doing that for?"
Because you can.
Like, exactly.
Because you can.
And that's
It's
really
not that
what it comes down
difficult.
to.
It is. It's not that difficult.
Because you can if you decide to do it. people ask me all the time, how do you do all that stuff, Tim? I just do.
Yeah.
I go forward with it. Do I stumble? Of course I do. Do I sometimes don't get to every detail? Of course I do. But that makes you stronger, makes you a better delegator, makes you a better realizer of what's really going on. Sometimes it's good to step back and not do as much of the work yourself to go forward. People, I feel everybody has potential, and people laugh at me when I say that. I believe we can be anything we want to, you know, just maybe some certain physical limitations. I think a woman can do anything they want to do, but sometimes a physical limitation might stop them compared to a guy. But other than that, we all have it in us, and we all have greatness in us. We just haven't triggered that out of our body and our minds yet. And I think that's the most I've gotten out of my life, Joe. People say, you know, what's the best thing about your life? And most people would say, it's the money I've made. Well, I've made money over time, but I've lost money too. I've had times it's good, it's sometimes bad. But really, it's the fact that I am constantly evolving. And I think when we understand evolution of ourselves,
Yes.
that's when the purpose in life comes to you. Because if you don't have a purpose, you really are just striving for nothing.
Right. And that's part of it. I mean, purpose, again, if it's sitting there, you start off with the potential. If you don't take that purpose and make it into something, it's just going to sit there. It's all about you moving. I don't mean getting up and running down the street. I don't mean running over to there. I mean, I'm talking about the movement you're talking about. Get your mind moving. Make a plan. Do something with it. Don't let it come to you.
That's right.
How many times did your mom say to you, Tim, opportunity doesn't come to you, you have to go to it?
That was said
My father.
constantly.
I mean, a million times said to me.
Constantly.
You know, a job doesn't come to you, you know, a friend doesn't come to you. You need to go to them. Put your hand out there. Put your mind out there.
That's right. If you let other people help you, they will. It's just too many people don't want to do that. It's a salesman type thought. But you know, what we're talking about potential, always brings me to something else that reminds me. I look at the New England Patriots this year. They really have had an up and down year. Now, they've had a hell of a run the years since Brady's been there, there's no doubt. But this year, they've stumbled a lot. But last week's game just showed the potential of this team when they all came together, all put their mind to it, and they performed almost flawlessly. They had their few things that happened against them, but potential is there. How do you use it?
Well, and I thought of this because of, you know, you talk about the Patriots or sports or music or writing or movies or acting. These people all have the label of potential. How many athletes we've heard of in our life say they got the potential to do that? Some did, some didn't. Some did, most didn't, because they didn't take that potential that was written out there and take it and made it an opportunity. And that's opportunity is the movement. And if you don't have the original potential, make it, but then take it and go forward. We see it all the time. I mean, you brought up a sports reference. I think the word potential is used more in sports than any other
That's right.
field because of the media coverage and everything else. It's in our eyes, it's in our faces.
True.
So when you talk about potential, it's usually an athlete or a team or an organization.
Right.
They have the potential. Well, the potential is useless unless they take it and move forward with the opportunity.
Right. And like I said, everybody has it. It's if they're going to trigger it or not.
That's a good
I
word.
see some people who trigger it, but then they get so distracted.
Follow through.
You know, they keep doing other things. You know, discipline is such a big part of our
Yes, it
lives,
is.
no
It
matter
is.
what you're doing, whether it's home, work,
Right.
just, you know, play. You know, you can't overplay. You
No.
can't overwork. You can't be home. You have to have a balance, but discipline has to be part of that. And when it comes to, you know, money to get what you want, discipline is a
That's huge.
big thing.
Because there's sacrifices, and again,
Big
sacrifice is all
sacrifices.
part of that opportunity. If you want the opportunity, you need to make sacrifices. And sometimes it could be saving a few bucks or coordinating your time better. Things that you normally did that don't seem to be working for you, you need to suppress that.
Right.
Take advantage of that opportunity. And when I say take advantage, I don't mean abuse, because that's what you're saying. Well, you can't have too much play, you can't have too much work, you can't have too much home, you can't have too much. You know, it all comes down to everything in moderation.
Right. And
So you gotta find that blend.
And some people don't know how to put it all together. I always tell people, If time management's your problem, then do a study.
Yeah.
Do a study for a month and write down everything you do at all times and put the times down. And then what you do is at the end of the month, you put them into categories. Work, home, with family, whatever you do, put them into categories, and then take that and add it all up, and then look at what you spent your time on. It's eye-opening. It's the same thing when it comes to our finances.
Yep.
Like I said earlier, what do you make a year? And look at it, it could be a month. I like to take a whole year and take the whole year and look at what you spent on, put in different categories. Gas, food, going out to eat, clothes. Put it in categories, and you'll be amazed at how it opens your mind.
It does.
It makes you aware. Aware is such a big thing in our lives. You've got to become aware of your surroundings. And those two forms of, I don't even know the word, what the forms would be, but those tests of taking that stuff and finding out where you're at is such a big thing to become aware of what's really going on. I've done time management all my time. We get sloppy after a while.
You do.
We start to not think about the discipline.
Yes, you do.
And you start wasting more time on Facebook. You waste more time about just thinking of nothing, TV, whatever it is. You have to become aware because we all have the same time.
We do.
24 hours a day.
How you spend it.
It's how you spend it, how much time you sleep, how much time you do this. I'm up early every morning. Do I really feel like being up early every morning? No, I really don't.
No.
I would love to stay in bed,
Sure.
but I got things to do. I got things to accomplish. I do my exercise early in the morning now because it works for me at that time.
But you're taking the potential of your Peloton bike and making it an opportunity to get in better physical shape.
That's right. And I've become that. Now, am I in top physical shape? No, I'm 60 years old now. But I'm still better than I was before I started.
Correct.
And it's like when I used to run or hike. I worked hard at that. I mean, yeah, it was a pleasure to take Friday afternoons to take the afternoon, go up the Blue Hills and hike. But I'll tell you, it was a bear some weeks because I was tired.
Yeah.
But I still did it. I either did it slower or faster. That's how I felt that week, but I still did it.
Yes.
People always say, oh, you're back up there again. Oh, you're back up there. Unfortunately, my back cannot take the running or the hiking anymore. I love doing both of those, but I have to submit to my age now.
But the potential was there to sit back and say, okay, I can't hike anymore, so I won't do anything. You went and took the opportunity and said, wait a minute, I found something to substitute for that.
Yeah, and I love the bike. It's been a good thing for me.
Yep.
But I'm doing my potential on the bike now. I remember when I first started, did the 15-minute exercises, and it was a bear. I mean, it really was. It was tough. But I've developed to 30 minutes now. I've taken 30 minutes and gone to higher. I'm in HIIT, high intensity training they call it, and I'm really doing that now and doing it at a good clips. I think I'm, it's definitely wears on me to do it.
Sure.
But I've developed myself that. It's like, I always tell people, everything is consistency. And I think it was the beginning of December. My back hurt still. I have problems with discs. But I said, I notice when I bend down, keep my legs straight and just bend down and try to touch the ground, it stretches my back. So I started at the beginning of December. And every morning in the shower, I do this 3 times. It's a yoga exercise. Everything in yoga is slow movement. So you go down slow, you stay there for 7 to 10 seconds, and you come up slow. And it's amazing. I couldn't even touch the ground when I first started with my fingertips. Now I'm down to this part of my fingertips on the floor. I can't wait till I actually get my whole hand down there. I don't know if I'll get there, but every day, every week, every month, it's getting better, and I'm getting further down. So just like the body, the mind, and what you're trying to achieve and your potential is the same way. You have to stretch it, stretch it every day.
And it's not a light switch. It doesn't go on or off. You need to work at it, like you said. And I think that was the key to your success. Is you're patient enough to know that it's not a light switch. I'm not going to grab the Peloton or start the yoga exercise, and tomorrow I'm going to be 100% better. So it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't.
It takes time. It takes patience.
You have to stretch the body, you have to stretch the mind, you have to stretch your potential and your talent. What if everybody has a talent? Some people haven't found it yet.
Right.
They need to find it. That's where the spirit becomes alive. When you finally ignite that spirit and do what you really are good at or can become good at and what your potential of being is. Like my daughter, she works with kids and she loves working with kids.
She does.
She works with kids with, behavioral disorders of ADD, could be Tourette's, it could be a lot of different things. But I could see that lights her spirit.
It does.
So that's hers. Now she's in
That's
her
her drive.
master's program, and what is she doing? She's stretching her knowledge to become better. And that to me is the human spirit, alive and well, and I can't explain it. You have to see it yourself. I could never explain. It's like having a kid. I could never explain having a kid until I had a kid.
Right.
Everybody tells you about it, what it's like in that delivery room.
Not the same.
Until you see it, you'll never know what it feels like. And until you become a parent, you'll never know the feeling of the other. It's a lot of feelings. It's the love feelings, the worrying feelings, it's this feelings. That develops your muscles and your mind and everything too.
Right.
And that's what it's all about in life. Keep stretching it, keep stretching it. I still stretch at age 60, and I think I'm not going to say I succeeded in life. I've succeeded at what I've attempted to do, but there's a lot more that I can do.
And I think that's what comes down. Success is what you believe in, not the other person. You said earlier, people are going to knock you down, they're not going to let you do that. Let them do that. Your success is your success.
Mm-hmm.
And your potential is
What's in
your
my
opportunity, not their opportunity.
That's right, because it's my opportunity. It's what I see.
Right.
It might not be what you see, but you're going to see something else. It's your opportunity.
Sure.
And to me, that is what makes your life, and that's what helps you go forward in life. Because we all have things that drag us down. Sometimes my health drags me down.
Sure,
Sometimes my
absolutely.
back drags me down. Sometimes just
Fatigue.
drags me down.
Right.
But you learn to adapt to it all, and as you get older, I've noticed that you slow down some. You know when to slow down. Before I used to keep pushing, but then I'd get sick.
Yep.
I don't get sick as much anymore because I don't push myself beyond. I know when my body says rest. I know it says, I know you do 2 days in a row with the Peloton, but this week I think you should do it every other day.
Yeah.
I can tell myself that because I know how my body feels. And as you get older, you notice that stuff more.
That's experience, and you've learned to understand. And again, it goes back to what you talked about earlier, everything in moderation. You cannot push beyond your limits. You need to reach those limits at a pace that's comfortable with your body and your mind.
It's true. It is so true. And at the end of the year, you could sit there and reflect on what's happened. You look at the good, you look at the bad. Because, of course, anything that didn't go well is a learning experience.
Sure is.
Not many people, they look at it as I failed. You didn't fail at nothing. You don't fail until you quit.
Right.
Either quit or die.
Right.
It's the only way you fail in life.
Well, even when you die, it's not your fault either. Everyone's doing it. So
That's the only two ways you're going to fail at doing what you wanted to do.
And that's why I like the distinction between potential and opportunity. There's a big difference in it. I think you pressed out a very good lesson today. You broke it down, and to get an understanding is think about what your potential or what somebody else's potential. You look at an athlete like you talked about, or a musician, they potentially could do this. It's taking advantage of the opportunity that makes it better.
And then what you're going to do first thing, to start out again or start out for the first time, is to get the chatter out of your head.
Yep.
Get the people that sit there and bring you down, tell you can't. Get it out of your mind, because when it's in your mind, it's not paying rent, so it does you no good.
Sure.
Go forward with your own mind. You can always listen to people, but you don't have to take everything that they say. I take some small things. Somebody might say I can't, but they might say something small in that conversation that I can pull from, and I might use. But you have the choice all the time to use what you want to use. Just evict the chatter that doesn't do. It's negative, kick it out. It's not paying your rent. Move forward. Keep stretching your abilities. Keep stretching your mind. I love learning at this age because I found out in time, the more you know you don't know.
Right.
And that's a huge
And you
awakening in
you
your
don't
head.
know a lot more than you do know.
Exactly.
So finding those pieces every day is important. That's the end of segment number 7. We're going to have segment number 8 next week. I'm going to talk about relationships.
Relationships,
Very
love
important
that.
subject to you. So
I enjoy these, Joe.
I do too.
I appreciate talking back and forth. We both think alike, but we think differently, and that's why we work together.
that's great.
Because we always push ourselves some way
We feed off
to
each other.
change. We feed off each other. Great time.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.